What's up, guys? Welcome to the In the Galaxy podcast, and today we are reviewing the Neighborhood's new album, and that was Jay's pick for me. Jay, would you like to give us some background about the Neighborhood before I give my review?
Yeah, definitely. The Neighborhood are a California-based pop rock band. I don't know. It seems like anybody that has a guitar player and a drummer and a bass player or multiple piece unit, they like to say they're a rock band, but they're a little bit deeper than that. They're a 5-piece, some young guys from Cali, Michael's neck of the woods.
Yep.
But yeah, they're a really interesting band, kind of a pop R&B type of band, kind of along the same lines of bands like the 1975 maybe. I don't know. They're kind of an interesting band. They're different than a lot of bands. Some kind of hip hop type of beats underneath,
Which I'll get to in my
instrumentation.
notes.
Yeah, definitely. Michael's going to start us off with some what he thought of the record. It's called "I Love You," by the way. It's their first full length release. They had 3 EPs before this. So, Michael, what do you think, man?
I would just like to say right up front, without cutting straight to the chase, I loved this album, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to start with just a quick song-by-song thing. The first song, the tone setter, is How. It's got like ocean waves in the background, and it's got this pimp just rap beat that's just great. And then the lyrics are so deep too. It just goes right in and says, "How could you question God's existence when you question God himself?" And I'm just like, wow, that's the first line of the album right there. And they just don't stop. They bring the deep lyrics and the fat beats the entire time. It just switches from rock to rap. And that song, deep lyrics, fat beat, great tone setter. Now the next song, Afraid, deep lyrics, opening lines, kills it. I love it, just grooves. And it's the bass that does it. I figured out what it is about each song that makes this album great, and it's the bass line.
You are absolutely right.
It's the bass line.
Each song in this album, and I was thinking about this earlier today when I was actually making some music of my own about the Neighborhood. They, more than any band, there's a lot of bands out there right now that are doing this kind of electronic rock type of thing, and they use synths and guitars to lead their music in. When I think the Neighborhood, they really drive that bass home, and it's thick, dude. It is thick, heavy, distorted bass. Oh, I love it.
I mean, it carries the melody a lot of times too. It's not just like a background foundation. It's like melodic a lot of times.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
So the second song, fat beat again, deep lyrics. I like the line, "When I wake up, I'm afraid somebody else might take my place." I mean, it's just got a constant theme of just insecurity in a relationship where, you know, the person's just really questioning the other person in the relationship. And there's a theme with that too. And what's interesting, Jay, is I think our choice for records that we had each other review, I think there's some parallels that we can make.
Well, I don't know about parallels. I saw a little bit of, opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of lyrics going on, but I guess we'll get to that next.
Yeah, we could get into that a little later when we do the Jay-Z review of Magna Carta Holy Grail.
But tell me what you meant by that a little bit in terms of the Neighborhood.
Just, insecurity. There's a theme of insecurity here in relationships.
Honesty. It's a very honest record.
It is very honest, definitely. The next song, number 3, it just comes in and they just keep punching, man. It's just strong. They switch up the beat. They slow it down. It's got a fat groove and a catchy chorus. Uh-oh, where can I go? And it's just like, man, I think this is a little bit of a slower song. So this is really good with pacing. The first song, it hits. It sets a tone. It's, a little upbeat. Second song, boom, hits a tone. Third song, slow it down a little bit. Yeah. Can't be turned up all the time. That's what I put in my notes. Then they come up with the uppercut, boom, with Sweater Weather, their hit single, their 4th song. And I wrote it. I love it. They kill it. This is their club banger song. Fat groove, the drum beat, the bass. It's got a tambourine in it as well. And the guy's flow is nice. I even wrote here his flow is sick. I mean, regardless of what he's saying, like I wouldn't care what he's saying because his flow's so good. But
Yeah.
the lyrics are definitely great too. So and the hi-hat, like when he's going fast with the words, the hi-hat really pushes it. If you notice that when he spits his lines fast, the hi-hat's going and it's just, I think it just pushes it. It gives it that forward motion that really makes a great pop song. And I love how they slow it down and just let it groove, and it's relaxing and it's soothing. I love how it switches back and forth between that. I think that's why it's so popular and such a good hit song. Next song, fourth song of the album, Let It Go. I wrote here in my reviews, this is some rap shit. On this song here, guys, if you love rap like me, man, I wrote this. You could feature Kanye or Hove or Jay-Z on this beat, and I wrote on this that if Jay-Z and this band collaborated on this song, it would be a bigger hit than Suit and Tie with Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z. That's how much I like this song if they collaborated together. And I think that says a lot. I mean, the flow is sick. Like I said, the lyrics don't matter, but they're still good.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of respect for Let It Go. Next, number 5, they slow it down. Great pacing. You know, they've got 3, fast, slow. They have a really good pacing with that. And I actually, with that said, I was able to listen to this album twice all the way through. So I listened to it and I was relaxed and it was great and it was smooth. And then I was able to listen to it again and take notes. And I still loved it both times. So Alleyways, number 5, slows it down, great pacing, easy to listen to. 6th song, it's got a string intro. And I love how they join it in with the beat later on. It's very nice introduction. The background gives it a hip-hop feel. Music doesn't overpower the lyrics. Complements perfectly. Gorgeous bass line. Chorus switch up works. Love what it breaks into later. It just completely breaks into something else later. It's got this guitar distortion that has a Doors / Hawaii 5-0 feel. That just makes it really chill and relaxed, like that wow 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 wow. Wow, like type of Hawaii 5-0 feel. I love
that's one thing that I think is interesting about this band that I didn't really touch on in my notes, but I think it's interesting the way they use guitars in this band because for so many people, guitars are a lead instrument, which I get that. I love guitars. I mean, I love guitars in a lot of the music I listen to, but guitars for the Neighborhood are almost more of a texture or an accent. You know what I mean? It kind of gives a little bit extra. There's something more going on in the music, and I dig that. I think that's really interesting that they do that. And there's other bands that do that too. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that they're new and fresh doing it, but I think they do it really well. So,
well, they don't really show off anybody. They don't have like a Slash or a Flea that's showcasing a lot. It's all about the feel of everybody's collaboration together. So the next song, number 7, Flawless. It's got an 80s ballad feel to it with a fat bass line. Flow is tight. It's got the Hawaii 5-0 guitar feel. Gives it a beach tone, I think. 80s drum beat. Love this song. This on the album Flawless is my favorite slow jam song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my favorite slow jam song. I gave this song an A++. I liked it so much.
I'm not sure if I'm right in saying this, but I think that might have been the first song that they ever either wrote or recorded together. I think it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Huh. The next song, Female Robbery, it's got a church bell opening with a Kanye-like screaming distortion. The most different song on the album by far. The chorus kicks in and it eclipses the rest of the song. I think the chorus saves the song. This was actually my least favorite song on the album. but I still enjoyed it. With that said, it still did its job, and I still enjoyed it. The next one, number 9, Staying Up, opens with children's toy bells. Did you notice that? Like it's got these bells that are like kids' bells.
Yeah.
And then it's got raindrops in the background, and it's creepy. And then he comes in with these lyrics like slept in basement making rap beat, 4 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep. Deep lyrics in chorus. This song stuck out the most the first time I listened to this album. Just love the lyrics. How can I sleep if I have nightmares? And it also has a cool kind of snare march beat that has this marching band feel. Loved it. Yeah, this is a good song. My last song, Float, number 10. It's kind of got a Linkin Park opening feel, I think. And then it adds in that Hawaii 5-0 distortion, fat bass line. Actually, I have in my notes here that I think this is the weakest song on the album. Yeah. It's the weakest song on the album, but it's still better. It's still better than most of the songs that I listened to on the last 2 albums that you had me. So that's what I put on my notes.
That's fair.
You can dive into more, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I gave this album an A. I gave every song on here an A except number 8, Female Robbery. That got a C.
What about the last song? I thought you said the last song.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the last song either. But I mean, gosh, if you like rap and hip hop music, you listen to this album for sure. I mean, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add in, Jay, or that you can tell me about any of the songs that I don't know? Or
well, I mean, Sweater Weather, they're actually a pretty prolific band. I mean, it seems like over the last like 2 or 3 years, maybe, they've been putting out music left and right, man. And they kind of did something a little bit similar to what, I guess there's a lot of bands doing this now, what Crosses did, where they put out some of the songs that are on this record before the full album came out. So they've kind of been out for a little while now. But one thing, their EPs, they have, let's see, hang on, let me go back to my other notes. They have 2 EPs before this one, which is called I Love You. There's one that's called I'm Sorry is the first one. Mm-hmm. Thank You is the second one. And the third one is I Love You. So I'm sorry, thank you, and I love you. Yeah, I mean, they do some interesting stuff. I think they're putting out like songs on 7-inch vinyl and stuff like that, which I think is pretty neat. But yeah, they seem pretty active. They seem like they're working hard. They're hustling to get stuff done. So, yeah. So you like the record?
I loved the record. I didn't like the record. Loved the record.
Good. I thought it was a little bit more up your alley when I recommended it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm a lyrics guy. I love writing. I love the lyrics to this and the bass line. It's the bass line that does it. But overall, holistically, I think it's just with their sound, just the warp and the weft. Like everything fits together nicely. They're not showcasing a guitarist like I said before.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll give you my thoughts on the album.
Yes, please do.
So basically, I stumbled across this band, like I do a lot of bands I listen to these days, by kind of Spotify searching. Actually, another band that I listened to quite a bit called the 1975. Which might come up in a little while, but they were touring with the band last year, and they constantly kept referencing the Neighborhood in their interviews. I figured I'd check them out, and man, I was pretty blown away. One thing that I kind of want to point out about this record is, I think in terms of genre, they're kind of hard to place because their music is. It's pop music with this hip hop beat undertone,
Yeah.
The drums, percussion in it is straight hip hop beats. And, but the mood overall, it's very dark. It's a very dark and very eerie record, which, might sound a little bit like I'm talking about the first record that I recommended, which was Crosses. I think this band and Crosses are kind of niching themselves in a little like subgenre maybe of this kind of this dark and eerie pop music, pop rock music, and I think the Neighborhood definitely have it a little bit more. I don't want to say well tuned, but they're fine tuned for the radio friendly ear, I suppose. But yeah, this record, I mean, as a whole, like Michael, I love this record. I think it's a great record. It's a really straightforward record, but I don't mean to give it any disservice. There's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of different layers of instrumentation. There's a lot of there's the vocals on this record. I don't know if you touched much on the vocals, but
I didn't.
The actual singing in this record. I mean, this dude's got such a smooth voice.
Oh, it's gorgeous,
and it's amazing. But it's also a little bit different. It's, to me, these are younger kids, maybe a little bit younger than us, but you can tell that they've been influenced by some of the same stuff that people in our generation have been influenced. I mean, I can hear it tone-wise. I mean, the guy's got a very R&B voice, but tone-wise, I can sense, some early, some early pop punk style tones in terms of the actual, just the tone of his voice. It's not deep, it's not falsetto. It is what it is. It's very straightforward. So, but yeah, just to go track by track, I won't go through every track in the record, but as Michael said, how is it's such a good first track for this record, and it's so as Michael touched on, the lyrics are incredible. As he mentioned the opening line, "How could you question God's existence?" This song has a very interesting religious feel to it. It kind of poses some kind of interesting questions that kind of they're what's the word I'm looking for here? He says one thing, but he's kind of meaning another thing, and the beat, it's very thick, very heavy. When it kicks into the chorus of the song, you get like every layer that's been in the song in the verse, it just kind of comes together in this chorus, and it's just so loud and thick.
Yeah,
and it's just a great track. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's a lot of other tracks on this record that are like it, that are as complexly composed as
which song is this?
The song is How. Just in terms of everything in their toolbox kind of thrown into one song. I don't think there's a lot of songs like this, but Afraid, it kind of pulls back a little bit in terms of the complexity. And it's a really straightforward pop song. It's got a good hook, a good catchy chorus. Not a lot of these songs, all of these songs have these really repetitive choruses, which in one column of my album reviews, like checklist, I say that's a bad thing, because it can kind of get, it's like you're saying the same thing. I wake up, I'm afraid somebody else might take my place. It's just like over and over and over again. And I'm kind of like, well, that's getting old, but also in the same time, it sticks in your head and you keep coming back for it. So,
and you're like, hey, I like listening to this. I like the beat,
Yeah, I mean, every time I listen to that song, and I've been listening to this album for a long time now, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, this is funny. It's it's the same chorus over and over and over again, but that's okay. I still like the song. Everybody's Watching Me. You're right. It does pull back a little bit in terms of the tempo of the album up to this point. It's a little bit more of a slower jam. Not the strongest track on my record or in the record for me, but it is on the first half of the record, which a lot like Drake. For me, the first half of this record was better than the second half of the record. Sweater Weather, great song, great pop song. One thing I could do without was where they slowed it and almost half-timed it at the very end of the song with the acoustic guitar. To me, at that point, I'm just over the song. Like, I don't really want to listen to the song anymore. But, I like how the first verse is very sing-songy. It's very, straightforward sing-songy. The second verse, he almost has more of a rap flow to it. And I think that's really neat. Let It Go, probably my favorite song in the record. I like it because the opening The opening verse of it is a little bit more rhythmic. It's a little more rappy. Alleyway is another great song for me. And then we get into the second half of the album. Songs like What Do You Want From Me, Flawless, Female Robbery, Staying Up and Float. In terms of matching them up to the first half of the record, I don't think they're as strong, but still great songs. More than anything, this is an outstanding debut album from this band, in my opinion.
Yes.
They are letting you know from start to finish, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're about. We're not trying to trick you. We're not going any weird directions with this music. This is what we are, and this is what we're going to bring to the table. And more than anything, I want to hear more from this band. Like, I've got to hear the next record. I've got to see what they do in it. And you're right, man. These beats that are on this record are so good. I mean, and I mean, they could go on any rap record right now. They could go on any rap record, any hip hop record. But more than anything, what amazes me is that's not just what it's about. It's about the whole package, the beats, the instrumentation, the music, the lyrics. And that's one other thing I want to touch on before I close out are the lyrics. You know, we saw on our last review, when we talked about balance and composure, these really deep, complex lyrics where you have to sit down, almost dwell on them and think about them, about how deep they are. And it's like, I don't even know if I understand this. And that's fine. I can respect that. But these lyrics, they're pretty straightforward. I know what he's singing about. You know, I know what he's singing about, kind of being alone, drinking tea, making rap beats in his basement.
Yes,
being alone.
We can both relate to that, right?
Yeah, being alone, being afraid. You know, songs about religion. I know what those songs are about. But that doesn't make them any less deep. You know what I mean? I think more than anything on this record, and where they kind of pull from the more indie vibe, as opposed to like the hip hop aspect of things that they kind of pull from too, is that they're not afraid to show their vulnerability. They're not afraid to show their insecurities and their, you know, all their issues and problems. But I respect it. I gave this record an A-. The only reason I gave it an A- because it's hard to get an A or an A+ out of me. And more than anything, it's hard for me to give you an A or an A+ on your debut record. So I give it an A-. Check out The Neighborhood on iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. They don't have vinyl out yet that I can go buy. I can't buy this record on vinyl. At least last time I checked, I can't, which kind of is frustrating. But yeah, so that's it for my pick for an album review. Do you want me to go ahead and tell you what's in store next for you? Or do you want to chit-chat about something else?
Yeah, basically, I just, the last thing I want to close on before we go to the next one is, if you love rap and hip-hop music, listen to this album. It is fantastic, and
but it's not a hip-hop and rap album. I think that's what we're saying.
It's not. It's It's definitely got a rock and pop feel to it.
R&B?
R&B, yeah, definitely. But if you like that, then definitely listen to this. I was skeptical at first, but hey, I loved it. So, yeah, that's all we got for this Neighborhood album review. And Jay, thank you so much for picking it. And on our next podcast, we're going to be reviewing Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail. So, thank you, Jay. And
wait, 1 second. Do you want me to tell you what your review is for next week?
Yeah. What do you want me to review, or what do you want me to listen to?
I think I'm going to switch it up. No, I'm not going to switch it up. I'm just kidding. I'm going to have you listen to a band that I talked about a little bit before, but the 1975's record from last year called The 1975. So if you guys at home are watching this, pick it up, check it out, listen to it. And Michael's going to do the same and let me know. He's going to let me and everybody else know what he thinks about it. So
The 1975, never heard of it. Hey, man, I'm looking forward to listening to it. But great pick last week. I'm curious to listen to this one. All right, and thank you guys for listening. And next we're going to hit you up with my pick for Jay. It's Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail. We'll catch you next time. Adios.
Thank you.